Years ago, I had a Sunday off when I was living up in Palo Alto area, and I, at that point in my career, was doing a lot of itineration preaching in different churches and synagogues, actually, when I was running an interfaith organization serving homeless people. But I had a Sunday off, and I'd been wanting to go visit a church for a while. It's called the Ecclesia Gnostica Mysteriorum. How's that for a name? The Church of the Gnostic Mystery. I was very intrigued by this group. The pastor was a French woman, a very avant-garde person, Bishop Rosa Miller, who claimed apostolic succession from Mary Magdalene. Really an interesting woman. And if you can imagine a Eastern Orthodox Mass written by Carl Jung, the psychoanalyst, that would be what she did. It was just, anyway, I'd heard about this and I wanted to see it, so I went. This was shortly after I had published an article published called America's Coffee Hour, America's True Religion. That the true religion of America is actually coffee hour. And for a lot of people, coffee hour is a bigger deal than worship. A lot of people go to church not to hear somebody like me go blah, blah, blah. They go so that after church they can have coffee hour and hang out with people and have conversation. And it took me a while in my career to realize that this was going on. And it took me a while to realize, actually, this is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with this at all. This is great. In fact, it's fabulous. So I wrote this article, and it got published in a magazine called Whole Earth Review, which is, for some of us might remember the Whole Earth catalog, right? Same people. Anyway, I got enthusiastic response from the editor, a guy named Jay Kinney, and he ran my article in the magazine. So there I was at the Ecclesia Gnostica Mysteriorum, first time ever being there. And afterwards, to my this very unusual kind of worship service, to my surprise and delight, they had coffee hour, just like any other church. So this very unusual church, but, same styrofoam cups, same, dark brown brew, same deal. And I was getting a chuckle out of this to myself. And I ran into another guy about my age. And he was holding we were both holding our styrofoam cups. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi. What's your name? And he said, Jay Kinney. I go, no. The guy who had accepted my article about coffee hour at church, I met him cold, like for the first time, at church coffee hour. I'm still recovering from the shock of that bizarre coincidence. Or maybe it was beyond a coincidence. Carl Jung would have called that synchronicity. Anyway, that's a whole other sermon. Anyway, we were both in a state of shock, holding our coffee cups at coffee hour at the Ecclesia Gnostica Mysteriorum. That was the biggest mysteriorum of all for both of us that day. But there's magic in it, yes? A magic in that serendipity, or that synchronicity. And it's a magic that happens in places like this, in churches, and other third spaces. Sociologists have put out the idea that there are three spaces where people interact and connect with each other. First space, home, right? Your home, where you live, the people you live with. Second space, work. And that is a whole different set of relationships, a different kind of relationship in a different kind of space that's very particular and different than your home. And third space is any space or environment in which we interact with people in a more public way, apart from home or work, beyond home or work, can certainly include the people that we connect with at home or at work, but it's beyond that, it's bigger, and it is where we connect in society beyond our little circles of home and work. God shows up in third spaces. Serendipity happens in third spaces. New relationships you didn't expect to form happen in third spaces. Romances begin in third spaces. Yes? Magic happens in third spaces. Where we have encounters with people we never expected or would have ever imagined that we would meet. And that is a very good thing. A friend of mine, a colleague, Kat Moore, someday I want you to meet her. I'm trying to get her to preach here sometime. You guys are going to love her. She's a delightful person, just full of life and joy. And she was a philosophy major at USC, and then after college, she became a consultant for organizations on a number of fronts and worked from home. But she liked to take her baby, her little boy Noah, when he was a baby, she'd take him to the local Starbucks and sit at a table with her laptop and do her work at a Starbucks. She liked doing that over coffee, yes? And what she found was that her baby, Noah, was a chick magnet, right? Not just a chick magnet, but anybody magnet, right? People of all shapes, sizes, and colors and genders would come up and make Google eyes at the baby and wave at him and smile, and then wind up having a chat with Kat. And this kept happening, and over time, Kat began to notice something very striking. And that is, most of us, when we go to a Starbucks, what happens? What do? You go up and order your drink, and then you go back and you sit at the table and you look at this thing, right? That's what everybody's doing. But after a while, at this Starbucks, because of Kat and the interactions that her baby inspired with her, people that met her started to talk to each other. They started to talk to each other. And within some period of months, Kat observed that this was no longer a normal Starbucks. This is a very peculiar Starbucks in which people knew each other and talked to each other and had friendships with each other, mostly as a consequence of getting to know Kat. Oh, you met Kat. Oh, you met Kat. Oh, you've talked to Kat. And that was enough to break the ice and bring people together. Now, what Kat reported to me was that it was a motley crew, all right? These folks that were getting to know each other. From people living in the LA River by Atwater to hotshot lawyers to Hollywood types. Everybody mixing, everybody talking, everybody connecting, and loving it, loving the connection. They realized we're going to Starbucks not for coffee, we're going to Starbucks to see our friends. And who knows who else we'll meet at the Starbucks, right? Magic. This magic inspired her to shift her career a bit, and now she is a nationally known expert on the subject of belonging and community building. And it all began with little Noah in the Starbucks. So we, like the Starbucks, we here, our church, is a third space where we meet each other and connect with each other and make the door, then the door is open and the public can come in. And it's always here, and it's free, and the coffee is free, and that's what third space is all about. Jesus said, where two or three are gathered in my name, there I am among them. I like that. I like that quote a lot. And something special about that quote? It's not 25 people. It's not 2,000 people. It's not a mega church of people. It's two or three are gathered, which is what happens at coffee hour. Hello, right? So I would just say Jesus has put a blessing on coffee hour, put a blessing on what happens in coffee hour, and we ought to lift up what happens in coffee hour as sacred space, sacred third space, where we go places we would never go and have experiences we would never have and thoughts we would never think and people we would never meet except for the third space. I would say that the culture that we are surrounded by has lost a lot of third spaces in the last decades. This thing has a lot to do with it, isolating us. That's a problem. And it just seems that we have work ahead of us to reclaim and create more third space and make use of the third spaces that we have in fresh ways. This quote we did for Lectio today comes from a book that my dear Roberta turned me on to years ago. It's called A Pattern Language, and it's a Bible of design. And the design ideas and principles in it are all about what we're talking about now. How do you design buildings? How do you design towns? How do you design communities so that third space can happen, so that relationships can flourish and community can be created and sustained? And it's a marvel. I recommend it to you. It's just marvelous because it breaks stuff down in very down-to-earth ways. Rules of thumb. What's a rule of thumb? It's like just a rough but ready and tried and true principle. And so the rules of thumb are about, how big should a town square be? What are the proportions that would most likely create lively community life? Come on up. We got room up front. Hi. Good to see you. So we are a third space. We can even be more of a third space. We can go further with the third space that we are by doing events, programs that make this space available beyond just the, we talk a lot about church being family, which is great. Church should be family. But in addition to family, it should also be a third space where we reach out and include and bring in people from beyond, whether they're interested in religion or not. Maybe they'll only show up here for community, for the chance to drink coffee with strangers and make connections in their neighborhood. That's a good enough reason, because again, Jesus put a blessing on that. Jesus lifted that up. And also, Jesus did pretty much all of his ministry in third spaces, right? Outdoors, mostly. Not within the confines of a synagogue or a building. Mostly out in public, where he would run into people randomly. All those people that he healed, it was pretty rando, wasn't it? How he met up with them. He met up with them in third spaces. So let's celebrate third space. Let's revive it. Let's think of ways, over coffee, let's talk about this. What are your favorite third spaces? Where do you go for those experiences of connection with perfect strangers and newbies and people ordinarily you don't see every day? What's your favorite third space? And how can we here be a better third space for our community? Amen.